Okay, what is up? In this video, I'll be covering the fact that Fiziev pulled out against this fight against Oliveira, and I'll be talking about Conor McGregor fighting at the White House because at this point, it seems like it's gonna happen. It seems like Conor is really gonna show up for this event, and I'm pretty confident in him showing up, even though you never know. Like Conor could pull a toe or something and pull out, or it could be lifting weights. He lifts a little too heavy in the weights, if you know what I mean, and he gets an injury. He pulls something that should not be pulled if you know what I mean. Anyways, Oliveira versus Gamrot. I think this is a great matchup, but to be honest, I am more excited for this fight than the Fiziev fight because, listen, I like Fiziev. His last performance wasn't the best, and before that, he lost to Gaethje, lost to Gamrot, and then lost to Gaethje again. It's like, and you're beating Paulo Mendes, and I don't think you should deserve to fight Oliveira off of those last performances. And even though yes, Oliveira got knocked out, it was to Topuria, and I still think they should be giving Oliveira to someone who's more deserving, like Gamrot. Like Gamrot deserves this fight, and really the MMA gods. Gamrot's been, he hasn't been treated rightly by the UFC. They've been giving him unranked guys. Like they have not been treating him right. He's been fighting on short notice. Even this fight's on short notice too. Like the only opportunity he gets to fight someone in the top five is against, Oliveira on short notice. But it's still good for him. I do think, even as a Charles Oliveira fan, I'm more excited for this fight and I'm more happy for this fight because I think Fiziev is dangerous. Fiziev definitely has more knockout power, and if Oliveira is going to lose, or he can lose by decision, but his chances of getting knocked out right after fighting Topuria and taking this fight, like he should have taken a longer time, a longer break, if he loses, it's probably going to be by KO. And going from fighting Fiziev to Gamrot, I like Oliveira's odds of not getting KO because even if he loses to Gamrot, let's be real, it's going to be by decision. Gamrot has like no finishing ability. Yes, he can like barely crack you. Like it's wow. Like people are hyping up Gamrot because he barely cracks someone with a punch. It's like you're a professional fighter. I would hope that you would hurt someone just a little bit at least in your fight. Like come on. Come on. I mean, Gamrot has no knockout power, doesn't have finishing ability on the ground, too. If he wins, he's probably just going to smush Oliveira and pressure him on the feet because, yes, Gamrot does have decent striking, but I do favor Oliveira to win. And I do like Gamrot. He is the dark horse of the division. Don't get me wrong. Like, he is super underrated, and he should be ranked higher than he is. And not going to lie, that Dan Hooker fight was really close. Like, you could give that to Gamrot pretty, easily, not going to lie. Watching live, I thought Gamrot won, and I was so happy that Hooker won. I was like, fuck, do this robbery. Finally, we get a robbery that benefits us. But that fight was a really close fight, so I wouldn't call it a robbery. But still, look at Gamrot's last fights. I mean, got dropped by RDA, got dropped by Beneil Dariush. And yes, those fighters are good. Less RDA than Beneil, because that was also Beneil before getting KO'd by Oliveira and Arman. So that was a better version of Beneil that we're seeing recently. But still, it's like you're getting cracked. Like in every single fight, Gamrot gets cracked. Even if he goes on to win the fight, like against Jalen Turner, I mean, he gets cracked. And you're fighting someone like Charles Oliveira who is gonna crack you. I see Oliveira finishing Gamrot. Like, if you're getting cracked by those guys, if you're getting dropped by RDA in like 2023, is it? 2023 was it? I mean, I see Oliveira hurting you badly. I see him dropping Gamrot, and I see Oliveira finishing Gamrot. In honestly, I think Charles Oliveira can get a first round submission because when Gamrot gets hurt, it's early in the fight, and he'll ease into the fight. Um, he did slow down kind of against Hooker, but when Gamrot's most susceptible of getting hit, it's early in the fight. And Charles Oliveira, he's a fast starter. We'll see how he starts though after that KO loss to Topuria. But if he starts like he did against Topuria, against Ilya, I see him really hurting Gamrot. The only thing is, I really hope Charles Oliveira doesn't go for the submission attempts that he did against Armin because, yes, Oliveira has good submissions, but dude, we're in 2025. Like, why are you pulling guillotine? Why are you going for these submissions off your back? Like, scramble and get on the feet. Like, go for a leg lock and then scramble up. Like, Oliveira can do that. So I really hope in this fight his game plan is similar to Beneil in the sense where defend the takedowns, and if you can't defend the takedowns, I get that. Gamrot's a really good wrestler. But if you get taken down, Oliveira, please use your grappling to create a scramble and get back up like he did against Ilya. And even against Ilya, he didn't even really create a scramble to get up. He created a scramble, and Ilya chose to get up. So I really hope he doesn't do that like he did against Ilya, because Ilya could have just stayed on top of him. And Gamrot will. Gamrot will not be like Ilya and stand back up, you know? So, Charles Oliveira, I think he could pretty easily win this if he just keeps the fight on the feet. He's way more dangerous. He has way more knockout power than Gamrot. Um, and he's just way more threatening on the feet. And I see him hurting Gamrot a lot easier than Gamrot's going to hurt him. And on the ground, Oliveira can create scrambles with anyone. He could create scrambles with Islam, Sarukin. He can definitely create scrambles with Gamrot. The only thing I see being bad for Charles Oliveira if he just stays on his back, and tries to get a submission. And if Gamrot can just defend the submissions, he'll just win rounds based off just being on top. So Charles Oliveira just create scrambles and use them to get back up on the feet, and then just outstrike Gamrot like Beneil did. Like Beneil had a perfect game plan, defended the takedowns, kept it on the feet, outstruck him. Same with Hooker, and Oliveira has a lot better grappling than Hooker. So if Hooker can execute a game plan like that, Hooker went for submissions and scrambled up on top to get back on the feet. I think Charles Oliveira can do that too, and he's a really dangerous striker. So I got Charles Oliveira. This fight is dangerous though, of course, because Oliveira did get KO'd in his last fight, and even though Gamrot doesn't have power, doesn't have crazy power, he can still hurt you on the feet. And just the thought of you getting KO'd in your last fight, that's enough to lose the fight for some people. Like we saw Usman versus Leon in the third fight. Like he didn't like he was really tentative in that fight. So I really hope Charles isn't tentative. I hope he presses forward, because if he's on the back foot like he was against Arman, this fight this fight can just slip out of his hands. Not even by getting hurt, but just by getting smushed by this fucking smusher dude. He just smushes people, dude. I like Gamera. He's a good fighter, respect, but he is kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. Next, Next, we got Conor McGregor. I had to slip this in. Conor, he gets views. Like, I want to get some views by Conor. So please don't let me get three. That would be depressing. Anyways, Conor McGregor, he is really confident in him, and he's really confident in him fighting at the White House. And I like that too, because listen, the biggest fight, if it's not Conor, would be John Jones versus Aspinall. We all know John Jones isn't going to fight Aspinall. He's all talk. And even if people are saying John Jones is talking, DC's like, John Jones should fight at the UFC White House main event. It's like, not one time did John Jones mention Aspinall. Not one time. Like, he's John Jones, like people are saying, he's talking about fighting, he's serious this time. He hasn't mentioned Aspinall one time. If he fights at the White House, it's gonna be versus like Alex Pereira. Like Alex Pereira, if he loses to Ankh, or even if he wins, it's probably gonna be John Jones versus Pereira if John Jones fights. Like, he is not fighting Aspinall. He is terrified. So if it's not Aspinall, I don't want to see John Jones fight at all. Like, I really don't care. I don't want him to be fighting light heavyweights. I don't want him to be fighting former middleweights. I don't want him to ruin other divisions. It's like, retire and go home. So that leaves Conor McGregor. And if it's not Conor, I mean, who's big enough? Who's big enough to main event? Like, a lot of American champions have been losing. Strickland lost, and he looked pretty bad against DDP, if I'm being honest. And we got some other American fighters, I guess. Sandhagen, probably going to lose to Merab. Sean O'Malley lost to Merab. Dude, I don't know. And people are saying Conor McGregor, he's not even American. At this point, well, first of all, Chandler is American. If he fights Chandler, don't even think that fight should happen. I think it should be Diaz. But even if Conor McGregor isn't American, he's more American than some quote unquote Americans. Come on, dude. I mean, how much fucking migrants? Like, let me not go on a rant. The point is, like, Conor McGregor's close enough to be an American in my book. At this point, the standards are pretty low. And Conor, he fulfills those standards of being American. Um, so yeah, I think he should fight at the main event. If he fights, it has to be the main event. The only problem I have is Conor calling out Chandler so much. I really don't get this. Chandler does not deserve the fight. Chandler's a bum. He's won 2 fights in the UFC, one against decrepit old man Tony Ferguson, and the next versus Hooker, coming off that Dustin Poirier war. So it's like, Chandler hasn't really been anyone impressive, or every win he has an asterisk, which is few. He only has 2 wins, and those 2 wins, they each have an asterisk. So I really don't think Conor should be fighting Chandler. I mean, I get why he's calling him out because it's super winnable. Like Chandler, he's always, not always, but in the UFC when he came in, he looked winnable. But dude, he has been looking so ass in his last fight, in his last fights, especially against Pimlet. He looks so trash. I think he threw like three punches and he tried to slam Pimlet like five times. Like, what are you doing, bro? You're slamming him and then letting him get back up, like trying. Do you know what top position is, Chandler? Or are you brain dead? Like, I don't know, dude. He's got. Let me not say that. that's bad. Let me not. Okay, next. Dude, I really think Connor shouldn't be fighting Chandler. I think if you fight someone, it should be Diaz. Like, I don't. Like, am I the only one that thinks this fight is clear as day? Like, I think this fight should clearly be made. Like, who the fuck cares about Chandler, dude? He's like, what? He's six, or he's like 2-100 in his last fights. Like, he's so ass. Like, what kind of losing streak is he on? Like, he's rivaling Tony Ferguson's losing streak. Like, what is this shit? Like, Connor, she should not be fighting Chandler because if he loses, that's embarrassing, dude. That's more embarrassing than Chandler's family life. Like, come on. And if you win, what are you gonna brag about beating Chandler? Everyone has beaten Chandler. Literally anyone. There are unranked guys who have won one fight in the UFC who could probably beat Chandler if I'm being real. He is super winnable. He's not that good. The only thing he has is athleticism, and it's slipping away because he's getting older and older. So I don't get why Connor's calling out Chandler. He should be fighting Diaz because first, if you lose to Diaz, Diaz, okay, listen, Diaz is old. He's 39 years old or something. Still, Diaz looked good in his last fight. He fought Masvidal and beat him in a boxing match. So like, if you lose to, Diaz, that's not even that bad of a loss. And if you win, you get more respect because again, he beat Masvidal in his last fight in a boxing fight. And like Diaz was not on a big losing skid when he was in the UFC. Like he lost to Leon, beat Tony, like Chandler beat Tony. Okay, I'm gonna cut that. Next, yeah, dude, give Connor Diaz, give it in the trilogy. It's perfect. Diaz is an American. That's really the only reason I think Connor is calling out Chandler. Besides the fact that he's really easy, I mean, the only reason if the UFC were to make Connor versus Chandler is because Chandler's American, and the main event needs to have an American fighter. Like someone has to walk out with an American flag. Who reps the American flag more than Chandler? I'm gonna be honest. Like I will give him that. He does represent it, not in a good way. If he is a bit of a weirdo, but still, I think that should be the perfect fight. I mean, it is the perfect fight. Like, and also the fight is massive and it needs to happen. It needs to happen eventually. And any fight could be Connor's last fight. And would you rather have Connor fight in his last fight Michael Chandler, who's ass, or Nate Diaz, Nathaniel Diaz, as Errol Helwani would say, as he would put it? Give Nate Diaz. Give Nate Diaz the Connor fight. He deserves it. And that fight would be massive. I want to see Diaz versus Connor. I don't want to see Cuck Chandler, get a Conor McGregor fight off losing every single fight. Like, how are you going to lose every single fight in the UFC and get rewarded with Chandler? Chandler should be lucky to be fighting someone ranked, let alone Conor McGregor. Like, give him some unranked guy. Like, come on, dude. Chandler does not deserve this fight. Um, yeah, and that's it on that. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. God bless.